Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. George Reister here. Everybody, thank you for joining me. This will be the greatest Unafraid Show episode of all time. You guys make sure you swipe up now, share the feed, like the feed, continue the conversation. I mean, it was a crazy weekend. Crazy weekend. I mean, everything from coaches to the college football playoff. Ranted about that yesterday. I'm still burning about that. What we got on track for you guys today is Nick Saban. He made a power play, and he admitted it on television. He admitted to making a power play with the college football playoff committee, and they bought it. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. Put out an article yesterday on unafraidshow.com. It's on my Twitter, Facebook, everything else as well from unafraidshow.com, where the SEC and the ACC have a systematic advantage over the Pac-12, Big Ten, and Big 12 conferences in making the college football playoff, and the committee screwed us, the fans, by putting Alabama in, and I'll explain to you why as well. And Willie Taggart rumors, Florida State, got something on that. Whether he's staying in Florida State, Oregon, got a little bit on that as well. And also, Tom Brady. That's where we're going to start. Tom Brady. Real quick. Why on earth, right? So, I don't know if anybody saw it yesterday, but Tom Brady yelled at Josh McDaniels. They're coming off the field after a third down. They didn't pick up a third down. And then Josh McDaniels and says something to Tom Brady. Tom Brady turns around and starts yelling at Josh McDaniel. He looked very violent. He looked very angry. He looked scary and mean. Well, those are all the things, and he's dividing the team by doing that. There's no place on the sideline for that. No place on the sideline for that, Tom Brady. Well, actually, those are the things that we would have said had it not been Tom Brady. Had it been Baker Mayfield, had it been Cam Newton, had it been any of these other players, yeah, you guys would have had a huge problem with that. We would have been talking about all the horrible things that these men have done. Oh, all the big scary guys that are just doing all these bad things, but no, you give Tom Brady a pass. You give Tom Brady a pass for cussing out his offensive coordinator, but you wanted to yell and strip Baker Mayfield of the Heisman Trophy if he gets it. How insane is that? Like, why on earth do you guys think that that's okay? Like, you excuse Tom Brady, but you condemn everybody else who does what Tom Brady did. You call them team obliterators. You call them whatever the hell you want them to do. You don't want to let T.O. in the Hall of Fame because he gets in fights with his teammates sometimes. But you're cool with Tom Brady doing that. That's what happens when you win 5 Super Bowls. Oh, okay, so we just get a pass for whatever behavior is in life. That's how you get all these sexual predators all over the place and sexual harassers all over the place. Because, you're successful. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. Speaking to somebody else who's successful and doing whatever the hell they want to do is Nick Saban. Nick Saban got his team in the college football playoffs, despite not doing anything all year, like doing nothing meaningful. If you take Alabama's name off of their jersey and you put somebody else's name on there, you give them that resume, the 56th toughest schedule. They got beat up by Mississippi State. If Dan Mullen hadn't played it safe, they would have lost that game too. Got beat up by Auburn, didn't win their conference championship. Oh, but it's cool. It's cool. We're going to give Nick Saban a pass. Because he came out on television, on national television, and said that he tried to influence the playoff committee. Nick Saban said this on television, and it's people okaying this because Alabama is, think about this. Alabama started the season at number 1, didn't budge until they lost. I'm talking about in the AP rankings. I know they got moved one time in the college football playoff rankings when they put Clemson ahead of them. But however, they started out the season as number 1 despite not doing anything. And there's a consensus they're the best team in the country despite not playing anybody. And then Alabama And Nick Saban have essentially intimidated the entire media with ESPN. They have intimidated everybody to believe that they are the best team in the country. And that is not true. That's not true. And that's why I've gone in and said that the SEC and the ACC have a systematic advantage over the other conferences. The only person that I've even remotely heard explain this on any level a little bit is Joel Klatt. The only person I've heard explain it even a little bit. Because when you break this down, so I broke it down on the article on unafraidshow.com. We'll get into it real quick, the Cliff Notes version. When you look at the amount of total losses that are available in a conference when you play 8 conference games versus when you play 9 conference games. The ACC and SEC play 8 conference games. So it gives them a systematic advantage because there are less losses to go around. So if you average out the number of losses that an SEC team that they will have over the course of a season, it's 4 losses. 4 losses versus the other conferences, which are at 4.5 losses. 4.5 losses. And so that's an extra half loss per team, which equates to the SEC having less losses because they play poor non-conference schedules. And then when you play poor non-conference schedules, you have less conference losses. Then at the end of the season, you play a November cupcake while the other teams are playing their conference games and beating each other, ranked teams. Then that's how you get this thing happen. That's how you get it happen. It is incredible to me why and how people keep falling for this manipulation. It's incredible to me. And the playoff committee screwed you. I talked about it yesterday. They screwed you. They screwed us by not forcing teams to schedule better. They could have. They could have forced them to do it by not putting them in the playoff because you didn't win your conference and you played a god-awful schedule. Come on now. That's outrageous. Like it's completely and utterly unacceptable what the college playoff committee did. But I will ask you this. Oh, and then also they have kept the Big 12 out of the playoffs because they didn't have a conference championship. Think about there were 2 separate seasons since the college football playoff started that the Big 12 was kept out because they didn't have a conference championship. But now, I mean, with Baylor, Oklahoma, and TCU. But now you put teams in that don't win their conference championship. Excuse me? Excuse me? Like, where on earth do we find that this makes sense? Like, don't you see a pattern with this behavior? Don't you see a pattern? Yes, there's a pattern. Some people believe that University of Central Florida should have got a shot. Hey, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them. Memphis, the team that they just beat in their conference championship, beat UCLA. So, you know, I'm not discounting them. The next thing up, though, is there's the coaching rumors. The coaching rumors all over the place. You have the coaching rumors, Willie Taggart to Florida State. Now there's James Franklin to Florida State. And is it Charlie Strong to Florida State? All those things. And I will ask you one simple question. Have any of the happenings in the last month in college football looked amateur? Have any of them looked amateur at all? Like let's point to this. Is that Arizona State just hired Herm Edwards as not their coach. Well, he's technically the head coach, but he's their CEO of the team. And here's the quote from their press release. The department's from Arizona State's press release from the athletic director. The department's new leadership model, will be similar to the NFL's approach using the general manager structure. Using the general manager structure for college football? Yeah, that sounds real amateur. Think about it, though. Have any of the happenings in the last month in college football looked amateur? Whether it's stuff with the committee, with who they chose to put in, who they left out, with the coaches being fired, the time in which they were fired, other coaches changing schools, players not being allowed to change schools, fan bases being held hostage, student athletes not being able to transfer, them being held hostage where they were, despite the coaches going to make unprecedented contracts. Scott Frost, 7 years, $35 million. Jimbo Fisher, 7 years, $75 million. But there's not enough money to pay the kids. That'll ruin amateur athletics. How would that ruin amateur athletics? It's no longer amateur. Like when teams come out literally in a press conference and say we're hiring a GM, we're having a general manager, a multi-tiered evaluation, like with scouts and all of that stuff, how are you going to continue to sell the lie that this is amateur athletics and that this is a fair trade-off with the scholarship? Oh, but the kids, they get a full scholarship. They get a full scholarship. Okay, they get a full scholarship, but however, their value outweighs what they are getting in their scholarship, what they're giving in their scholarship. Because everybody else is getting rich around them. Everybody else is getting rich around them. But the kids are not getting rich on this same level. They're not getting rich on any level. They're not allowed to trade on their name or any of that. There is something, though, that I woke up to this morning. So I woke up to a text message this morning saying that Florida State would be announcing their new head coach at 3 o'clock. That's what I heard. So I woke up to that news. I have not confirmed who that candidate will be. What I do know is that Willie Taggart was scheduled to leave Eugene yesterday, go to Arizona to go see Shaw, the quarterback. Then he was scheduled to go to Texas, and then he was supposed to go to Florida, to Tallahassee and some other spots in Florida on Wednesday. So to be there on Wednesday. And so Florida State, so sorry. I was getting stuff in. I was getting stuff in on my text messages on my computer as we sent it in. Hold on. Stuff coming across on my text on here. Florida State, there's rumors that Florida State is flying around to meet Willie Taggart and all these things in some secret location, and that they have made sure that their tail numbers can't be tracked on the flight trackers and all of this stuff, or they're going to meet them in some secret clandestine location. But I'll tell you this, that if Willie Taggart is supposed to, if Florida State is announcing their head coach at 3 o'clock Eastern today, which is 12 o'clock noon, my guess is that it would not be, I will have something way sooner, but it appears that hire would be Charlie Strong if the announcement is at 3 o'clock. That would be my gut feeling and what kind of makes sense. Because, so he would leave last night to go recruiting, have a scheduled visit with a kid. There's been no word about that commitment being broken or any of that. So that leads me to believe that the hiring at Florida State will likely be probably Charlie Strong, James Franklin, somewhere around that, but I don't expect it to be Willie Taggart. However, I will make sure to keep you guys abreast upon that. Oh, going back to the college football playoff and look at this. Look at the two semifinal games. You have Clemson and you have Alabama. Clemson and Alabama. Okay, well, if you guys have seen anything while I'm on that broke while I'm on, let me shoot me a text message or send it to my inbox. Clemson versus Bama in the Sugar Bowl. You got Oklahoma versus Georgia in the Rose Bowl. That's right in my backyard. I'll likely be at that game. Excited about the Oklahoma-Georgia game. However, you're not going to sit up here and tell me that these are the best 4 teams in all of college football. You're not going to sell me that. You're not going to be able to sell me on that at all. Because the main reason why you're not going to be able to sell me on that is because I am watching the games. And I'm looking at resumes, but now you're telling me to throw out but the committee's telling me to throw out resumes, don't care about schedules, don't care about any of that. And that is completely against what college football is supposed to be about. This is supposed to be about the best men, the best teams on the field, and not playing into some sort of nepotism because college football's favorite son is Nick Saban. So the nepotism that's going on and getting in on reputation is out. Because when I hear people on the selection show saying things like, well, you know what Ohio State is known for? You know what Alabama is going to give you year in and year out? They're going to give you a good game. So do we want a good game or do we want the 4 best teams? And do we want the teams that actually did the things to get in the playoff, which means scheduling, which means putting your best foot forward? And if you're a college football fan, you should be disgusted with the schedules that continuously happen every year, and you make excuses for it. I'm not taking any excuses for it. Oh, the Big 10, Big 12, they didn't have a playoff, so they're out. But now you put Bama in. Last year you put Ohio State in. The line keeps moving, and the line keeps changing to make sure that people get in the playoff. The line keeps changing. You keep moving it. To go back quickly for a second, though, with the Herm Edwards hired as Arizona State's new head coach, despite the fact that they're going with that new quote-unquote leadership model, similar to the NFL's approach using the general manager structure, the question is this, is that can he be successful? Because, mind you, Herm hasn't coached in college football since, the mid-'80s. Hasn't coached in pro football in 10 years. And they're forcing him to keep the assistant coaches there. And what makes sense to me with him keeping the assistant coaches there, it sounds like they're trying to keep their recruiting class intact. Arizona State wants to make sure that they are still having an opportunity to be successful. And then they're giving their coaches an opportunity to give 1 year, prove themselves, and then potentially leave. And then potentially get fired after that if they don't do an excellent job. You guys, I am working on this Willie Taggart story because they're Florida State supposedly announcing they're either signing or announcing their head football coach at 12 o'clock today. So this is huge news because this has been completely under wraps. Completely under wraps. If this has happened, this has been like a thief in the night deal, and some fan base is going to be completely surprised. Completely surprised because all the Oregon fans believe that Willie Taggart is in Arizona. And the Penn State fans, they believe their coach James Franklin is staying. Virginia Tech fans feel like Justin Fuente. He said no out loud. Kevin Sumlin's still out there on the street. So there are a lot of moving parts in this situation. I'm going to find out answers for you guys. I'm going to make sure so you guys stay alert on the Twitter. Stay alert on the Facebook, All these things, I will keep you abreast of them. But that's what I know at this point in time, that Florida State's supposed to have their head coach today at 3 o'clock. I'm assuming that's Eastern time, because because the person that I spoke with is in that time zone, in that area. So yeah, so that's where we're at. Thank you guys for joining me today. Right or Wrong, Unafraid Show. Send your emails in for the Unafraid Show anonymous emails. If you haven't seen them, I'll repost them on my Twitter today, my Facebook today, to make sure that you guys see it. People sitting in crazy situations that goes on in their life. You can check them out on unafraidshow.com as well. They are amazing. You will get a laugh, you will get a cry, and you'll get a good conversation out of it, because they are absolutely hilarious. I mean, people asking about their kids, people asking about their crazy situations at work, and me and the wife and the expert give great advice on these things as well. We will catch you guys tomorrow.